So today, we're ranking every real way the world could end. Worst case first, and then already in progress last. Turns out it's probably not actually going to happen that we're going to just vanish. Nothing really goes quiet, especially in the human race. Now, there's an actual field of science built entirely around this question. It's called risk research. And yes, it's generally someone's job title. Researchers rank the ways civilizations could end using two questions: how likely and how soon. Now we're doing our own version. 7 contenders ranked from Hollywood's favorites to the ones that are already slowly happening. Now, fair warning, some of these are scarier in theory than in practice, and one is the exact opposite. So let's start with the one every disaster movie loves. 66 million years ago, a rock roughly 10 kilometers wide slammed into now what we know as Mexico. It hit with the force of billions of nuclear bombs, released in a single instant. It ended the dinosaurs. All of them, except the one branch that survived by becoming birds. The crater is still there today. It's called Chicxulub, and it stretches about 150 kilometers across. So could it happen to us? Technically. Statistically, you've got better luck winning the lottery. NASA and other space agencies currently track more than 30,000 near-Earth asteroids. None of the large civilization-ending ones are really on collision course with us. We would know. But smaller impacts still happen more than other people think. In 1908, a rock exploded over Siberia before it even reached the ground. The blast flattened over 2,000 square kilometers of forest instantly. No crater, no warning. Just a flash and a shockwave that circled the globe. Now, if that same object had arrived just a few hours later, it could have leveled a major city instead of an empty forest. In 2022, NASA tried something nobody has ever attempted before, deliberately ramming a spacecraft into an asteroid. The mission was called DART, D-A-R-T, and it worked. It rammed into a small asteroid moon and measurably shortened its orbit. For the first time in human history, we proved we can actually redirect a threat like this, as long as we see it coming early enough. The verdict? Generally catastrophic if it happens. Generally rare that it does, and we're finally watching the sky. Moving on. Speaking of things hiding where you least expect them, underneath Yellowstone National Park sits a magma chamber, roughly the size of a small country. Geologists monitor it around the clock. Every tremor, every bulge in the ground, and every shift a few centimeters underground. The last full super eruption there happened about 640,000 years ago. A different eruption in Indonesia, roughly 74,000 years ago, was so massive that some scientists think it nearly wiped out early humans entirely. That particular theory is still debated among researchers, but the ash it threw skyward generally did circle the entire planet. It blocked out sunlight and cooled the global climate for years afterwards, choking off harvests everywhere. A modern super eruption could do the exact same thing: darken the skies, crash global temperatures, and wipe out crops on every continent at once. Here's the good news though. These eruptions run on geological clocks, not human ones. Yellowstone's odds of a super eruption this century are lower than you personally get struck by lightning. Twice. Scary rock, extremely, extremely slow clock. Let's keep moving. That one's all natural. For this one, we'd be doing it entirely to ourselves. October 1962. The United States and the Soviet Union came close to a full nuclear war, closer than any other point in human history. 13 days, missiles quietly being installed 90 miles off the coast of Florida. Warships circling in the open Atlantic. One miscalculation from the other side, and everything after this sentence looks completely different. Luckily, it didn't happen, because at the final possible moment, both leaders chose to back down instead of escalate. 21 years later, and one man may have single-handedly prevented the actual end of the world. And almost nobody knew his name for decades. His name was Stanislav Petrov, a Soviet officer on duty. The night his early warning screen suddenly lit up red. 5 incoming American missiles. That's exactly what the system reported in real time. Protocol was simple and immediate. Reported up the chain right now. Petrov didn't. Something about it felt wrong to him, so he waited. And he was right to wait. Sunlight reflected off high-altitude clouds had fooled the satellites into seeing missiles that weren't actually there. Now, if he trusted the system over his own gut, this exact video would probably not exist. Neither would YouTube, or a lot of other things. Today, there are still roughly 12,000 nuclear warheads on the planet, spread across 9 different countries, which means, quietly, one human judgment call made under pressure in a matter of seconds is still part of an actual safety system. Nuclear war needs a decision. This one doesn't, well, for the most part. In 1918, a flu strain infected roughly a third of the entire human race. It killed tens of millions of people, more than the world war that was happening at the exact same time. And that was before international air travel, before antibiotics, before any real global warning system existed. In 2020, a new virus reminded the entire planet that we still aren't as far ahead of nature as we'd like to think. Most pandemics start the exact simple way. An animal virus jumps into a human, and one human boards a plane. It's a 2-step process, really, and it's happened for dozens of separate times across recorded human history. The scary version isn't natural at all. It's engineered, and that's the part researchers worry about most today. Labs around the world study dangerous pathogens specifically to build better defenses against exactly that kind of threat. The uncomfortable truth is the same knowledge that protects us. In the wrong hands, anything can really become a threat. Here's the one item on this entire list of humanity that is actually beaten outright, completely. Smallpox. It killed hundreds of millions of people across human history. And in 1980, it was declared fully erratic from the planet. It remains the only human disease we've ever completely erased on purpose, together as one species. Now that one's all about biology. This one is something we're building on purpose, well, right now. The next threat is newer than every other item on this list, and it generally splits opinions, even among the people building it. Some of the very researchers developing today's most advanced AI systems are also the ones publicly seriously worried about them. Not robots with guns worried, something quieter, and honestly stranger than that. It's called alignment problems. What happens if we build something smarter than us that ends up wanting the wrong thing? Not evil, exactly, just aligned with what we actually meant. Picture an engine with incredible growing power and no steering wheel installed yet. Nobody fully agrees on the timeline. Some researchers say decades away. Some say much sooner. Some say it may not happen at all. What almost everyone in the field does agree on is that this engine is being built faster than the steering wheel. The verdict? The least historical precedent of anything on this entire list, and by far the most uncertainty. Worth watching closely, but not panicking about. That one at least, we're building ourselves. This next one, we couldn't even stop if we wanted to. Somewhere out in the universe, dying stars occasionally fire off a gamma ray blast, the single most energetic explosion known to physics. If one pointed directly at Earth from a few thousand light years away, it could strip away our ozone layer within moments. No warning, no countdown. Light itself is the fastest thing there is, so the burst would arrive the same instant that we ever detected it. The good news, none of the stars close enough to worry about are currently aimed our way. and the universe is unimaginably enormous. The odds of this exact scenario are almost comically small. Consider it the universe's own disaster movie plot, filled under technicality and possibility, essentially ignorable. That was the fun part, mostly out of our hands half of the list, but here's the other half. And now, the one item on this list that is fundamentally different from every other one. It isn't a maybe. It's not a scenario being modeled for some hypothetical future. It's a measurement, being taken and recorded constantly, right now, actually. Global average temperatures have already climbed more than 1 degree Celsius before the industrial era began. That number sounds small, and it really isn't. It's the difference between a stable planet and an increasingly unpredictable one. More extreme heat, stronger storms, faster glacier melt. Sea levels are already quietly reshaping coastlines around the entire world. And scientists are also closely watching for something called the tipping point. This is where thresholds change and starts accelerating itself with no extra push needed. Melting ice reflects less sunlight back into space, which melts even more ice, which reflects even less sun. Thawing permafrost releases trapped gas, which speeds up the very warming atmosphere that thawed it in the first place. Cross enough of these thresholds, and the whole world stops needing any help from us to keep going. The only threat on the entire list has already begun. It's caused directly by us and is still actively being written, which strangely enough also makes it the only one on this list that we can still directly edit the ending of. So here's the final ranking. Worst case scenario all the way to the already in progress. An asteroid impact and supervolcano. Catastrophic on paper, but the odds are firmly measurably on our side. A gamma ray blast, even less likely than either of those, and completely outside our control either way. Nuclear war is survivable so far, partly through luck and partly through small handful of extremely calm people under pressure. A pandemic, not really a maybe at all. Something the history books say will absolutely happen again, in some form eventually. Runaway AI, the true wild card. Nobody, including the actual experts, fully agrees on any of this yet. And a climate collapse. Not might, not someday, already the front runner. Already well underway. But here's the twist hiding inside the question itself. Might end implies there's a version where it never does. There isn't. Not forever, anyways. Even if humanity dodges every single threat on this entire list, there's still an ending built into the universe itself. Our very own sun will eventually die. And once it does, we've kind of already lasted as long as we should have. Compared to all the things around us, that would be the end of our story. It sounds bleak, but here's the part that isn't. Every single threat on this list, humanity has either survived, already diffused, or is actively working on solving right now. The ozone layer was visibly tearing open through the 1980s. The world signed one treaty, and it's healing. Petrov made one quiet decision under pressure that it may have saved billions of lives, and he wasn't even trying to be a hero. Smallpox killed more people across history than most wars combined, and we erased it on purpose. Together, as one species, anything is really possible. And here's the last twist. It's not even the first time this planet has had a close call. Life on Earth has already been wiped out to zero, not once, but at least 5 separate times. Scientists call them the mass extinctions, and one of them makes literally everything you just watched look gentle by comparison. Next time, we're going all the way back to the single worst days life has seen on this planet. Remember, we've survived, so make sure you hit the subscribe button and don't miss it. Check the link above if you want a long version of how it all ends. And this has been The World So Far. We'll see you guys next time.